Whoa, what's up, guys? Welcome back to According to a Geek. On this episode, I want to talk a little bit about a movie that is not out yet and has been absolutely plaguing my thoughts for months now. I want to talk about the highly anticipated Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, starring Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, and Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Now, I was one of the people that, I facepalmed when they announced Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because, all I can ever see Jesse Eisenberg doing is these, quirky, kind of kid that gets punked around in high school type character, with his curly hair. I can't see him as anything else, and I definitely can't see him as Lex Luthor, Superman's biggest villain. I just can't see it. And, originally they were talking about getting Bryan Cranston to do it, which to me would have been like top-notch casting. I think that would have been so great, but instead they picked Jesse Eisenberg. But aside from that fact, the movie is supposedly a Man of Steel sequel, which I don't see how it could be a sequel to the Man of Steel if it's more of, so far there's more stuff about Batman than there is about Superman, so to me it doesn't make much sense that the movie would be a Man of Steel sequel. But hey, it's up to Zack Snyder to bring this thing to life and do what he's gonna do with it, and hopefully he's not gonna mess it up, because I will be the first one to tell you that I didn't like the 300, and as much hate as I get for that, and I'm going to get for that, I just didn't like 300. I thought it was just a freaking visual effects fest, and it was just nothing but like, oh, here's a bunch of stuff we can do with technology, here's a bunch of blood and gore and things, don't get me wrong. I love some like bloody, gory fight action scenes in movies and stuff, but it was so much, and I feel like Zack Snyder tries to over stylize things. Like, he tries to make things that don't necessarily have to have a really visceral overtone. I feel like he makes it have a visceral overtone, like the battle in the real Battle of Thermopylae, which is the battle that it's referencing in 300. There weren't people jumping off other people's shields and stabbing them. It wasn't constantly overcast gray weather the entire. It's really stylized. And he sort of did that with Man of Steel. It wasn't exactly, I'm happy that they didn't go with Man of Steel. I'm happy that they didn't do like a Christopher Reeves type Superman, which, believe me, those movies are, the best Superman movies ever made. But I'm glad they didn't do that with the new ones, because it needed a new direction. Now, whether Zack Snyder's direction is the right direction, that remains to be seen. But I think that the casting is a little bit off in this one. I do like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. That's a really good pick, and I think that he'll bring all those great movies that he's been in, all that his experience to it, which this movie needs a lot of experience. Ben Affleck Batman. I don't hate it, and I was one of the few people that when they announced that, I didn't hate it. I was like, oh, okay, Me, personally, I wanted Carl Urban to get the role as Batman, and you may be asking, why do you want Carl Urban? I wanted Carl Urban because if you've seen Dredd, then you can watch that and know that he would be a good Bat. Now, Bruce Wayne, not so certain. Almost Human, he did a really good job being a, semi-heroic type character too. Police officer. So, you never know. But, I didn't hate Ben Affleck Batman casting. I thought that it was a really good choice, and he's a good actor. Henry Cavill had been in things before Man of Steel, but he wasn't really, really, really well known like Ben Affleck is, and I feel like his name attached to it will give it a little bit more credibility than if it was somebody else. But other than that, though, I can't make any judgments about this movie until I see it. But so far, and now they're talking about making LexCorp, instead of having it as this huge, multi-billion-dollar technology. They're wanting to make it more like a Google like corporation, where it's like guys in big fluffy chairs with stress balls and and they got the big marker dry erase board, and lobby, And to me, that doesn't make much sense, because in the first movie you see LexCorp trucks and you see, this industrial side of LexCorp, which to me doesn't make sense if they're a Google-like company. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but maybe I won't hate it when the movie comes out. But I think in order for them to get this movie right, I think what they're going to have to do, one, they're going to have to give enough, it's going to have to be a Superman movie. That's just what it's going to have to be. It's just going to have to be a Superman movie. Although, yes, Batman's in it, but you can't overshadow Superman with Batman. Even though it's in it, they're both in the title, you can't overshadow either one. So you want equal balance of both characters in the movie. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the whole, okay, they've announced Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and now they've sort of announced Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So not only do we have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, now we have an Aquaman, and they've cast Cyborg. It's like, guys, I know you're trying to keep up with Marvel, okay? I know that Marvel has 12 movies under its belt right now, and it had 8 movies building up to Avengers, but they did it the right way. They waited. They didn't push things. They didn't, just make movies for the sake of, cramming characters in for the sake of cramming characters. They took their time. They planned things out. They started with Iron Man, which was a great base to start on, because the first Iron Man movie is what gave people hope in the Marvel franchise. And Superman is a good starting point. Now, Man of Steel was not a good movie to start a franchise on, because they destroy Metropolis in the first movie. He kills somebody in the first movie. It's like, Lord, what? How are you gonna top that? And of course, their answer to how do we top that is we make Superman fight Batman in the second Superman movie. No, not the first. Not the 8th. The second Superman movie, he fights Batman. So, whether that's going to be a good decision or not, hey, we don't know yet. But that's my thoughts on the new Superman movie, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. So, if you have any other ideas for any videos, leave them in the comments. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys, and stay updated with all my future videos. Thanks for watching.